It's before commissioners, because the board of supervisors, not
Right, from
commissioners.
each township. Kind of cool.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thursday, September
September
28th. I would like to call to order the Properties, Environment, and Economic
Development
Development Committee.
Roll call.
Mr.
call.
Morse?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Mr. Hardy?
Yes, here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Minutes, July 7
Minutes,
of 2023.
July 7 of 2023.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
Moved by
Second.
Walker,
Moved
second
by
by
Walker,
Hardy.
second by Hardy.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Any opposed?
Any
Motion
opposed?
carried.
Motion carried.
Changes to the agenda.
Changes
Would
to the
anyone have a
agenda.
change
Would
to
anyone
our
have a
agenda?
change to our agenda?
Resolution
For the statewide septic code should be
2310.
2310.
So noted.
So noted.
Would there be any other changes?
Would there be any other changes?
Motion to accept as
Motion
amended.
to accept as amended.
Make a motion to accept. Make a motion to accept as amended. I'll second
Moved
that.
by Beggs, second
Made
by
by Beggs,
Morris.
second by Morris.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed?
Anyone opposed?
Motion carried.
Motion carried.
Would there be any public comment?
Would there be any public comment?
Hearing none.
Hearing none.
Susie Knoll, executive.
Susie
of
Knoll,
our
executive of
Conservation
our
District.
Conservation District.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is about the time of the year where I provide an annual report. It's the end of our fiscal year, September 30th. Is that when your fiscal year ends as well?
No, Kennedy.
Oh, okay, all right. So anyways, it's a busy time, I'm sure, for all of us, just for budget reasons alone,
Yeah.
right? So.
Okay, so I just want to highlight.
a few of our successes over the last year, and then share some exciting things we've got in the works for the upcoming year. So, if it would be possible, do you want me to just, give you a thumbs up when you said it?
So you know.
Most of you know, that we are a local unit of state government. We're in Shelby on Industrial Park Drive, and we've got a group of, 5 elected board members, 2 associate members, and we have 6 staff. And our mission is to promote the conservation, stewardship, and sustainable use of the natural resources here in Oceana County.
And I wanted to just
I just have a few slides, organized based on like our areas of service. So the first primary area of service is landowner assistance, and we work with forest landowners and farm landowners to manage natural resources on their property, protecting soil, healthy soils, water, and fresh air. So we've got 3 grant-funded positions specifically for landowner assistance. So we've got our meat technician, that's Linda Harriman, and she works with farmers primarily, and implementing conservation practices on their property that protect the water and the soil. So this past year, she verified 4 new farms. And re-verified, it's a process that needs to take place every 5 years just to make sure everything is still up to standards. It's a voluntary program, it's not regulatory at all. We just hope that there's enough buy-in from the local farmers that they do want to protect our local natural resources. So anyways, she had 4 new farms and then re-verified 31 existing farms. So she had a busy year doing that. And then we also have a grant-funded position for a forester. He's housed in our office and services 3 counties, Oceana, Newaygo, and Muskegon. And this past year, this number here, the 90 site visits, was based on a report from him from the end of August. I think he's well over 100 now here. Counting in September, but he meets people on their property to talk about forest management, and also helping them diagnose any issues that they have. We have a huge problem with hemlock woolly adelgid and some oak wilt cases as well. So he helps provide some recommendations and hooks people up with private consulting foresters in the private sector to create forest management plans for the property. Yep.
The environmentally verified distinction,
Yes.
is that come with grant opportunities, or is that just to say, hey, we're a good steward of our land?
Exactly, yeah,
Okay.
you've seen the big signs that say this
Yeah.
farm is a barn, okay, so that, and then they get some cost share funds to do, if they need extra help, like, putting in a backflow preventer, or if they need to put in a fuel pad or something, we have some cost share funds available for that, to help farmers, meet the standards. But yeah, it's a process in which, she goes out on their farm and goes through, all of the things, that they could be doing, differently, and, it's just a signal, if you will, to the rest of the community saying, we're doing our best to be good stewards of the land. Yep.
Thanks.
So.
And then,
We also have Adam Chandler in our office. He is a grant-funded employee who works with our local partner in our office, the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. And Mark Kelly is that person in our office, and Adam together are getting dollars in Oceana County residents' hands. In fact, over the last couple of years, $3.7 million have been directed to local farmers. And that's quite a huge bump this year. We had 2.6 million of that in active contracts that are just maybe started a couple of years ago, and then 1.1 million just this year has been obligated to local farmers. And this is again to implement conservation practices on their farms.
So that's a sizable,
and a lot of that is because of the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act funds coming in. So
two people doing
a lot of work with our local farmers. All right.
And I just had a couple of pictures.
That's Rod on the left. He's our forester. And then this is a recently re-verified farm, I believe, the Allens at their Chestnut farm. Okay, next slide. Another big part of our mission is the way we go about our mission is through education. And we really are trying to connect people, young and old, to the natural world, and just knowing that there's a huge disconnect to nature with a lot of the electronics these days. It's really been our focus to get kids outside and doing healthy outside activities. So in the last year, we had just shy of 1,000 people when I did all the numbers. And we, through our programs, we have educational programs, we've got guided hikes, and we've got several field days and seminars.
20
families have enrolled in forest school. We've got a forest school for knee-high naturalists, we call them, the little 2, 3, 4-year-olds, and we had 75 children enroll in our summer camp. We've got 3 different camps in the summer. And our educator, she works 3 days a week. She has jury duty today and couldn't be here, so otherwise she might have been here. But she's been fabulous as a facilitator for our office. We hired her I think 3 years ago now. Alright, next slide, and just a couple of pictures of us with our educational programs. The top left is a recent farm field day that we held at the West Michigan Research Station. There was 100 people there, and this is a drone demonstration showing farmers some latest technology as far as sprayer optimization on their farm fields, and very well attended and well received. Camp bottom left is a program of our camp at Gales Pond, and the right is our little knee-high naturalist program.
Okay, and then
third area of focus is stewardship activities. All right, so in the past year, we sold 26,000 trees through our tree sale, and to mostly local residents that are putting them in the ground right here in Oceana County. Now the invasive species number there, 48 acres. We don't have that number yet because they're currently treating. August and September are their busiest months treating, actually, so that's last year's number. We anticipate it'll be something similar.
And then we have crews out treating for hemlock woolly adelgid.
you probably are aware that the tiny little insect is wreaking havoc on our hemlocks. And so we had some extra funds this year to refocus efforts in Oceana County, and I don't have the numbers yet because they're out treating as we speak, but hundreds, if not 1,000 or more, trees treated for hemlock woolly adult. Okay, and then this year we planted 48 acres of pollinator habitat. Eric Harregers is here today, our chairman of our board. He's the one that does it. He has the mechanical knowledge and expertise to do this. But we worked with probably, 6 or 8 landowners this year and planted 40 acres of pollinator habitat.
And then in addition to that,
we have 120 acres permanently protected in nature preserves.
Otto Nature Preserve.
They're both in Benton Township. Otto Nature Preserve has been a gem in the county, and people are really loving it. If you haven't been there, I would hope that you would go. The trails and the signage are really nice. And we had a gift, a land gift, a 40-acre land gift a year ago. Well, was it this year? April, a year and a half ago. So this year we're out there doing some survey work and trying to lay out some trails, and we have some ARPA funds to help develop that preserve.
We're excited about that.
We're excited about that, but it probably won't be open until late next year, if not beginning of the next. So
Here's just a
couple of pictures before and after of a pollinator planting that we did. Was this in Claywings Township, I believe? We asked that all the existing vegetation, it was just a fallow field, and all the existing vegetation removed and then replanted then with high quality native seed mix, all wildflowers native to the area here in West Michigan. So kind of transitioning now to what we're focusing on from here on out. Every 5 years we have to survey the county and ask the residents what they feel like are the top concerns in Oceana County, and we have narrowed it down to these 5. Water quality has been consistently the top concern for Oceana County residents, followed by invasive species, wildlife and habitat, forest health, and land use. And then we asked residents, we gave them 5 options. If you'd like us to see us expand our service in the county, what would you like to see us do? And these were the top 2. Invasive species management and restoration. Alright, so we really did answer the call, and soon after the survey, we hired a stewardship coordinator. Sky Harsh is here with us today, and I just want to have her share just a few words about what she is currently doing to handle some of this invasive species management and restoration activities in Oceana. So she's just going to take a minute to tell you what she's done.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. As Susie said, I'm Sky Harsh. I'm the new stewardship coordinator. I'm here at Oceana Conservation District. And regarding our survey, we kind of assessed the top priorities, and I have 3 priority areas in which I'm expanding on in the next fiscal year. Our top priority is invasive species management. This year we were able to establish some cost share funds for public use of invasive species in 2 priority species categories. We have Japanese knotweed and Phragmites, which are 2 target species in the county. We are able to get assistance to both landowners and to county entities to treat properties. Right now we have about 4 to 5 acres treated, and we have a pretty long list for next treatment season as well, so that's a program that's going well. We're going to expand boots on the ground invasive species management efforts in the next year. A priority of mine is HWA, which you've heard mentioned a couple of times, Hemlock Woolly Adelgid, partnering with both Mason Lake Conservation District and Muskegon Conservation District to get more treatment in this area to protect our coastline and our hemlocks. Another priority of mine is the development of our new nature preserve. So this year we did our botanical surveys and we did a forest management plan. And using those, we're going to to do trail development this next year and improve access so that the public can enjoy our natural resources as much as we need to. Our third priority category is going to be restoration activities, and I'm going to leverage our local and state partners in this and get some restoration activities based in watershed management to improve our water quality, stream bank restoration, erosion control, reforestation in order to keep our forests healthy and resilient in the coming years. So that's kind of what's going on in the county. Stewardship is a huge umbrella, but with these priorities, I think we'll be able to get some really great work done in the next year. So thanks for having me today.
Okay, so
I know it's budget time for you, and you should have all received a budget request and a letter that I had sent with it. But just to reiterate that, we're asking for $25,000 in operational funding this year. We used to get 15, and then I know during COVID it was bumped down to 14. So this is a bit of an increase, but we're hoping to use the funds. Our budget is pretty tight now, especially having some more stewardship focus here based on our survey results. But we'd like to use the money to leverage and secure more funds through grants. Sky is working on 2 different grants right now through the Forest Service for hemlock woolly algid and reforestation efforts, trying to anticipate that if we will likely lose many of our hemlocks, that we need to think ahead here. So full eradication is likely not possible. So we are hoping to save pockets of them, and then thinking ahead and replanting with some new growth. And then also, like I said, yes, supporting the restoration activities, like these tree plantings, fish and wildlife habitat, improvements in stream bank and shoreline stabilization. All right, so and then you have now provided annually towards our household hazardous waste removal program, and we're not the fiduciary for that. That's actually Mason Lake Conservation District, who is the fiduciary for our 3 counties. It's a collaborative effort, but you always do provide some of that. So we do hope that you'll join us in our vision here of clean water and healthy forests and sustainable agriculture. You can move on to the next slide, and that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Can you go a little bit more into the request for additional funds as far as, how will that equate to more grant dollars? So can you help make that connection?
So we can utilize matching funds as leverage for grant funds that we're asking. So we're currently applying for the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, $200,000 grant, and then our local CISMA, it's a Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area for a 7-county region, that we're in the process of asking for $600,000 grant. It's another Forest Service grant. It's like landscape scale. So working just within the 3 counties, 3 or 4 counties right along with the lake shore here, and focusing very, very closely to the coastline on hemlocks. So leverage grant funds can be leveraged. The allocation would leverage some of those grant funds as match. But also just you know, with our increased activities, you know, that we really want to do in the county with Sky's help, you know, getting the work, boots on the ground, doing the actual work in Oceana County. So, yeah. And we have a budget over $500,000. So, you know, annual budget. Now, we have 3 grant funded positions from the Michigan Department of Ag and Rural Development, which is, you know, half of that probably. So the rest is what we do here just out of our office, and we have minimal money coming from MDARD for operational funding. The rest is like fundraisers through our tree sale. Yeah, and that's it. So.
Would there be any comments?
Would there be any comments?
Susie, I'd just like to say.
Susie,
how
I'd
much
just
fun
like
it
to
is.
say how much fun it is with the tree sale.
That annual tree sale.
That annual tree sale is
huge
a
impact.
huge impact on our
And the
county.
trees that are picked
And the
up
trees
on
that are
that
picked
day,
up on that day,
it's fun to watch,
it's
and
fun to watch, and it's really
trees
neat to
leave
see
the
the
grounds
trees
knowing
leave
that
the grounds
somebody's
knowing
gonna
that somebody's gonna go
plant
home,
that moon grass,
plant that
or
moon grass, or they're
maple
gonna
tree.
plant that maple tree.
How many trees?
How many trees are distributed?
So this year's 26,000, but we have over 310 orders, I think we had last year. So we've got a lot of people coming through the fairgrounds to pick up their trees, and it's a huge effort to get them all packed and ready to go. And good news, we're partnering with the Conservation Resources Alliance this year, and we are gonna get some tree tubes available to protect the trees that are planted. So there's gonna be like $50 towards tree tubes that landowners will be able to get. So, yeah.
No, that's very
Well,
important.
that's
I
very
do want-
important, and I do want
Eric
to
Eggers
point out
again.
Eric Eggers
The
again,
acreage
and the
that he's
acreage that
planted in
he's
Oceana
planted in
County
Oceana
of
County
pollinators.
of pollinators. How many years have you been on the board, Eric?
On the board?
On the board.
On the board?
On the board.
30, I don't know, 30, probably.
So you learn from all the greats.
So you learn from all the greats.
Yep. Nope, Eric has
Yep.
been.
Nope,
he's
Eric
been
has
a
been, he's been a steadfast partner with agriculture in Oceana County.
Every year I see the
Every year I
pictures of
see the
Eric on
pictures
that
of Eric
tractor
on that
out there,
tractor
no
out there, no
cab
cab nowhere, and he's drilling in our pollinators. It's quite
Yeah,
a sight.
hundreds of acres over the last 4 or 5 years.
3 years ago, I did 180 acres with a 6-foot drill.
All volunteer.
All volunteer.
All volunteer.
All volunteer.
And it's on a big acreage scale, you can do 2 acres an hour. Well, you have a lot of time.
That's
Good think time, isn't it?
And I just wanted to reiterate, part of the funding that we're asking for with this ability of Delta problem. And it's, I read an article and I don't know if our farm is starting to get into the Christmas trees out in Osceola area and stuff. We would use a little bit of that money maybe to get set up. Right now, we're partnering with Muskegon and whatnot, and they're doing the treatment, but it's just too much. It's just too much.
It's by air.
And that's by air.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Injection.
And they do a drench too, but I personally save the groundwater. I would prefer the injection, but to get set up, to help in this area, it's gonna be 60-70 grand.
We're thinking about starting up our own crew. So it would be an effort to get like a 2-3 person crew working with Sky. But the startup cost for that is $60,000-$70,000 because we would need a truck and we need chemicals and we would need a shed to store the chemicals and all that. So
It would be a big effort.
It would be a big effort, but there's also a huge need and a huge demand, so it's something we are seriously considering.
You gotta get ahead of it, otherwise those trees are gone, just like Florida, just like the ash trees.
And now it's our hemlock.
And now it's our hemlock.
And the oaks are already battling.
Yes.
Yes.
Great job, Sky, by the way. You're very well spoken. I really appreciate it. I mean, you too, Susie, but in a young gal like that, that's pretty.
You're exactly right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I bet. Thank you. And I probably won't be able to stay here.
Understood.
Septic resolution.
Septic resolution.
Ms. Biard?
Ms. Biard?
So this is a resolution, opposing the changes to the statewide septic code, and I believe that, that you talked about this at your health department meeting, I'm assuming, and I don't know if you wanna touch on that at all?
Robert?
This is a monster that's coming out of
Southeast Michigan.
It's being driven by
Southeast Michigan.
Where any private
Where
septic
any private
systems that
septic
are in the
systems
state
that
of
are in the
Michigan
state of Michigan are gonna have to be inspected every 3
And
years.
there's gonna be a
And
fee
there's
for the
gonna be a fee
homeowner,
for the
any
homeowner, any place from
$3,000
$3,000 to $5,000 every
to
3 years to have
done.
that
They're actually gonna come in,
They're actually gonna come in, you'll have to be licensed in order to
And
do it.
septic haulers
And
will
septic
not be able to
haulers
do
will
the
not be able to do the
inspections
inspections themselves.
Like they do now to see
Like they
if
do
they're
now to
working.
see if they're working.
In the 10-county district
of our District 10 Health Department,
we have
we have
approximately
approximately 180,000
private septic systems.
private septic systems that'll have to be inspected every 3 years.
That falls back on
county
sanitarians.
sanitarians.
Most of the
Most of the
counties
counties,
like
like us, we have one.
Some of the counties have
Some of the counties have two.
But they're gonna have.
But they're gonna have,
When you do the math.
when you do the
you
math,
know, every 3
you know,
years,
every 3 years, there's gonna be
60,000
60,000
septic systems in our
septic
district
systems
alone
in
that
our
are gonna
district
have to
alone
be,
that are gonna have to be,
gonna have to be inspected. Every 3 years.
every
at a
3
cost
years,
to the
at a
homeowners.
cost to the homeowners.
Anybody who has
Anybody who
private
has
septic
a
system,
private septic system,
you pretty much know when
you
they're
pretty
failing,
much know when they're failing.
you know, and they're
You
pretty
know,
much
and they're
addressed.
pretty much
But
addressed.
again,
But again,
it was made very, very
it was
clear
made
to us.
very, very
correct me
clear
if
to
I'm
us,
wrong,
correct
Paul.
me if I'm wrong,
Very,
Paul.
very clear to us.
Very,
that
very
this
clear
is
to us,
being
that this is being driven by the
metropolitan areas
metropolitan
in the
areas in the southeast corner of Michigan.
Who realistically
Who
have very little
realistically
clue
have very little clue
of what's going on.
of what's
with
going
septic
on
systems,
with septic systems.
You know, in the old state.
You know, the old
And-
state.
And
And
at our meeting, Nick Krieger, who is
Krieger, who
one of
is
the representatives from
one of the
Mason County,
representatives from
happens to
Mason
be an
County,
attorney.
happens to be an attorney.
And when
And
we were discussing
when
it
we
at
were
our meeting
discussing
2
it
months
at our
ago,
meeting 2 months
Nick
ago,
Krieger did a
Nick Krieger
resolution
did a resolution opposing
District
it.
10 Health
And District 10 Health
Department
was the first
organized unit of government
organized unit of government in the state of Michigan to totally oppose it as written. And
So,
So at our meeting last night,
Mr. Erickson was
Paul-
there too.
Mr. Erickson was there too.
Senator Bumstead was there.
Senator Bumstead was there at the MTA meeting.
He's pretty sure it's gonna
And
pass.
he's pretty sure it's gonna pass.
And the biggest problem
And the
is
biggest
that
problem is
it's being
that
driven by
it's
people
being
that run
driven by people that
municipal
run
septic
municipal
systems.
septic systems.
And don't have the sheer
don't have the
manpower
sheer
to
manpower to physically do
60,000.
60,000.
It's not right.
It's
So,
not right.
Like
So,
Bob had said,
like
Nick
Bob had
Krieger,
said,
he was
Nick
so
Krieger,
good
he
that
was
he
so
sat
good
in our
that he
meeting
sat
and
in
he
our meeting
dictated
and
the
he
resolution
dictated
while
the
we sat
resolution
and
while we sat
listened,
and
and
listened,
we
and
signed
we
it at
signed
that
it
meeting.
at that meeting.
It's so
It's so
astronomically
astronomically
out of touch.
out of touch
With the real problem, and we've only got
problem, and we've only got Mark
Hill
Hill
in
in
Oceana
Oceana
County.
County.
He's
We had
retired.
Mark, he's
And
retired.
so now we're
And so now we're
borrowing out of Mason County
for them to come down and do
our health
our health
inspections,
campground
septic
inspections, septic inspections.
we have a
new
sanitarian
who
who has been hired to work in Mason County,
but it's about a year for that person to get up to
Because
speed.
as Paul said,
Because as Paul says,
he does the well permits.
he does the well
does the
permits,
septic permits,
does the
he
septic
does the
permits,
inspections,
he does the inspections and the compliances
He
with
does,
them.
one of the biggest things
One of the
that they
biggest
have
things that
is
they
when you
have
have something like
is
the
when you have
electric
something like
forest,
the electric
they have to
forest,
come in and
they
certify
have to
all the
come in
food
and certify
vendors
all the food vendors
before they can serve food.
before
there.
they can serve
You know,
food
and-
there.
and
You know, and
it's-
it's,
there's so much
there's so much workload
for
for those people now.
And there were three county sanitarians who retired this
this
year.
year.
And they were having such
And they were having such a hard time finding
people with
qualifications
to apply for them.
That
It took
forever.
And then the
supervisor retired.
And
it
shouldn't be of any big shock that when the supervisor retired, the supervisor from Ottawa County applied for the position and was hired. And he owns property in Manistee County, and he was very, very happy to come to work for District 10 Health Department instead of Ottawa County Health
Department.
State Township Association is coming up with something too against it. What Connie Cargill was saying.
Well, it's gonna be a battle.
It's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, it's
coming whether we want it. It's coming whether we want it or not. And,
I think what it boils down to, in my opinion, is I think there's something needed. Right now we have Silver Lake is a prime example. We suspect we have septic issues polluting the lake, causing a fair number of some of our nutrient load. But there's no enforcement. There's no way to enforce an inspection or an efficiency tests, to ensure that there aren't 70-year-old cottages with 55-gallon drums sitting beside them buried in the ground. The problem is in typical governmental style, this is a swing far too far of the pendulum when we need a shot down the middle. So I skimmed all four of these bills yesterday, and it looked like it was a 5-year inspection. I did see some dollar amounts for $3,000 fee for certifying kind of out of the ordinary treatment systems. I didn't see a lot about actual cost of inspections. But that's also concerning because if there's not a cap, well, the world's your line.
You are right on point.
3 year was when the
3 year was when the initial
legislation, and the fees were initial. There has been some things that have been loosened up a little bit on it. But District and Health did not say at all that some type of legislation needed to be approved. District and Health said, this is not the legislation that we can live with. Correct, Paul?
Correct.
It's just not gonna work.
And our biggest problem, not just District 10 or the 10 counties that we represent, but Silver Lake.
When we lost Mark Hill,
we lost 40 years of experience in the field.
And the depth
that we have experienced now is so green, there's not a mentor on staff. There's nobody there that can say, oh, I had this problem 8 years ago, 3 doors down at Silver Lake. And Silver Lake was brought up last night. And I'm probably as familiar with the Silver Lake problem as anyone in the room. And after knowing the history of the Silver Lake problem and where we are with that today and how the municipal systems that have been proposed for Silver Lake have always been shot down,
those days are going to be behind us.
Those days are going to be behind us one of these days.
These water tests are
going to come back, and we'll see some action from
the southeast corner of
the
Michigan.
southeast corner of Michigan.
It would be my hope that this board would pass this resolution
With the understanding that
we know something has to be done.
But the legislation
as
it stands right now is not something that we can live with.
That'd be my stance.
Yeah.
No, it's physically impossible.
It's physically impossible to do what they're saying they can
do.
Let
them try.
Let them try. All of a sudden we'll see a crash.
Well, it's not. It's the state will hire another firm. They'll hire another wave of stormtroopers to come in and enforce their.
And I would hate to be one of those stormtroopers going into a conservative county in the state of Michigan and telling people that I'm gonna dig up your front yard to inspect your septic system.
Start digging. I'll leave it there.
Setting up?
Setting up?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any public comment?
Any public comment?
Hearing none?
Hearing none, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Paul, do you wanna do the department head report?
Would there be a department?
Would there be a department head with a report?
Public comment.
Do we have any public comment before we?
Yeah, there were none.
Yeah, there were none.
There were no none?
There were none.
We're adjourned.
We're adjourned.
Mr. Hardy.
Sure. Mr. Hardy.
I'd like to call to order the Finance and Administration Committee. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Morris?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here. Here. I would ask for a motion for approval of the meeting minutes from September 14th.
I'll make that motion, but with one correction or change. It says, first page, second paragraph from the bottom, Mr. Morse stated Martha is no longer a member of the White River Zoning Board of Review. I just think it should, say former County Commissioner Martha Mayad or something like, or Commissioner Mayad or something a little more formal.
So noted. Okay, with that,
minor change, correction, all in favor of
Somebody's got a
approval?
second.
I'm sorry.
I'll support.
Support. Support by Beggs. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Beggs, support by Walker. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Is there any public comment at this time for Finance and Administration Committee? Hearing none, we'll move on. Mary Lou is...
Mary Lou will not be here today.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she's not able to make the meeting, but, she did provide a, report, and I laid that on desk. The foreclosing governmental unit report.
Mr. Hardy, may I comment?
Mr. Hardy, may I
Yes,
comment
please.
on this?
Yes, please.
This is a refreshing
a
document. that we
refreshing
got.
document that we got.
Not because there were
Not
two
because there were two
foreclosures,
foreclosures,
but this is telling me.
this is telling
over
me,
the tenure of
over
our
the
treasurer,
tenure of our treasurer,
how that office
how that office has worked with
to stop
people,
the foreclosures,
to stop the foreclosures,
and worked out payment
and worked out
systems,
payment
and worked
systems,
very
and
diligently.
worked very
When I
diligently.
first
When
came
I
on the board,
first came on the
we were
board,
at 30 to
we were at 30 to
35
35 or more
foreclosures
foreclosures every year.
Because if people went
Because
past
if
the
people went
deadline to
past
pay,
the deadline to pay,
that's it.
that's
There's
it.
nothing else we're going to
There's
do.
nothing else we're going to do.
But our present treasurer and the people in the office,
people in the
if
office,
somebody's getting close to that foreclosure date,
foreclosure
they're
date,
calling them.
they're calling them,
They're reaching out to them.
they're reaching out to
asking
them,
them to come
they're
in.
asking them to come
They're
in.
doing
They're
everything
doing
that's
everything
legally
that's
and
legally and
possible
physically
to help
possible to help
hold on to
people
their property.
hold on to their property.
I would bet
And
out of the 83
I would bet out of the 83
counties
counties
in
in Michigan, there are not very many that work that
Amy, you
diligently.
probably remember
Amy,
when
you
we
probably
used to
remember when we used to have
have
pages of
foreclosures
foreclosures that came
pages
out.
and pages.
Pages and pages.
And really, it says a lot
Really, it
about
says
the
a lot
quality of that
about the
office.
quality of that office, that they're
to
working
stop
with people to
foreclosures.
stop
Two of them
foreclosures.
is absolutely
Two of them
nothing.
is absolutely nothing.
Pretty minor.
And those two of them.
And those two of them,
The minimum,
the minimum bid of those two foreclosures was $6,917.85.
These are not Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan
Six-figure houses or
six-figure
anything
houses or anything else.
These
either.
are houses
These
that
are
are pretty,
houses that are pretty,
because that's 3
you know,
years of
because that's
taxes.
3 years of taxes.
For combined,
For
$7,000.
combined $7,000.
Right.
It's property that
It's
somebody
property
doesn't want
that
anymore.
somebody doesn't want anymore. and
Easier
it's
just to let it go
Easier
back
just to
than
let it go
to
back
deal with
than to deal with it.
But thank you, Mr. Hardy.
But thank you, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, Mr.
And one thing,
And one thing, to put it all into perspective though, back when I was in the foreclosure business,
we were dealing with
9%
standard
average mortgage, and through that we saw 23.5% prime.
And
And then I wrote some 17 and 18%
back
mortgages back in that day.
So
So
put it all into perspective.
Put it all
the
into
interest
perspective,
rates
the
have
interest
been,
rates have been
good help
good
in the
help
foreclosure
in the
process.
foreclosure
You know,
process.
if we'd start
You
talking
know,
about
if
8 or
we'd start talking about 8 or
10%
10% mortgages
people,
today,
going to
people,
shock.
going to
But
shock.
I lent money
But I lent money at
14%
14% every day. So
These are great times. when it
These are
comes to
great
a
times
mortgage.
when it comes to a mortgage.
Some of us borrowed at
Some of us borrowed at 23.
Some of us borrowed at 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Remember those days? Yeah.
Everybody on the board might.
Everybody on the board might not remember those days.
Mr. Morris?
Yeah, so just more about the foreclosure.
The
Fund I see from her report to us is that, it's like $2.9 million, somewhere in that range.
Almost $3 million.
Almost $3 million. Just wondering,
Are we close to knowing?
are we close to knowing when some of that can be released to, you know, for,
May I answer that?
May I answer that?
The treasurer
is very,
and I'm not
very,
speaking
and
for
I'm
the
not
treasurer,
speaking
I'm
for
just
the
saying
treasurer,
that
I'm just saying that
the discussions that we've had.
She's very
leery to
any
declare
surplus
any
and
surplus
funds that
and
can
release funds that can go back to the county into the general fund.
all
Until
of this
all of this
litigation
under the Raffaele case are
because
settled.
we have been
Because
served
we
with
have been served with two more notices
recently. So we have several of them under the Raffaele case that we may have
liabilities
some
liabilities on.
and the treasurer,
And the
the other
treasurer,
thing that the
the
treasurer
other thing that the treasurer has done, and money has
released
not been
and
released
declared the
and
surplus
declared the surplus and brought back into the general fund.
Prior to our present treasurer, we used to borrow money every year
to pay off
taxes for the local units of government. People don't pay their taxes for the villages and the township. The county makes the village and township whole, and then we try to collect them. We have not had to do that with the present treasurer. She has enough money in that fund to cover those taxes every year going back to the local units of government. We were borrowing money to do that all the time. So that office is
being run a lot like a business.
I'm totally in support
I'm totally in support of
of
the conservative approach, 100%, because we,
If all
that's still going on, I just, when is the sunset for that, or when can people no longer go back?
I think when the litigation is done, and once the, depending on how high
So
the
it's
courts
still-
go.
And so it's still in.
I thought that was over.
I thought the decision was made, and
I don't believe any more can be filed after, I believe November 5th was the date. So
there won't be any more.
So we'll have a better idea.
so we'll have a better idea after November
Not-
5th.
and
and
I'm not saying that
not-
we
and
wanna
I'm not
have
saying
it
that
released
we
even
want
then.
to have it released even then, I'm just,
I just wanna know where we're at.
I just wanna know where we're at,
And we have been
What our options
informed by our liability insurance because we did file these, the other two that we just got with them. However, MMRMA said they will not cover those going forward, which is a good thing that the treasurer did.
I can only imagine the exposure that MMR and they will be covering that on all 83 counties. I bet we're talking billions.
oh, sure.
So I think our decision to hang on to it right now is the best.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
best.
best, the safest, yeah.
Phil, I've asked that question.
A few times in private conversations.
That's pretty much what I've been told. I hope I'm not misspeaking for the treasurer.
Well, and we talked to, her and I talked about that too a little bit, and then she, same sort of thing she told me, I just wondered if maybe we were, when we were talking, it was,
Might be coming to a head.
at that time, so I wondered if it had come to a head yet, so.
Sun's gotta set something
Yeah,
on that
right.
whole mess.
Any other
Thank you.
comment? All right, moving on. Stephen Carlson, West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development.
Stefan is not here yet.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Mr. Vandervries. Move you up. Consideration of proposed motion for the approval of the L 4029, setting the 2023 millage rates. Good.
Yeah, I'm not usually here for this one, but I can answer any questions you have. Basically, what I do is I prepare the L 4029s for the majority of the local units, villages, some of the schools, libraries, and making sure that if there was a millage reduction fraction required due to the Headley, that it was applied. There was only 2 villages that their taxable value increased greater than the inflation rate, which was 7.9% for this year. So the majority of all units, including the county, did not have a millage reduction. So your maximum allowable millages that have been reduced in the past are the same as they were last year. And so, working with Tracy, and I think the board discussed this in your workshop, the millage rates have been set at the same rate that you levied last year. And so, and because you discussed this at your budget hearing, we no longer are required to have you do a truth and taxation hearing. It's a separate hearing, which is why today all you have to do is adopt your millage rates. These are are then turned over to the county clerk and our office. I will then be back in a couple of weeks, your first meeting in October, where I will assemble all of these L4029s from all of the taxing jurisdictions that levy taxes in Oceana County, and I will present to you the apportion report for you to approve that actually approves the levying of all of the winter taxes. That report also does, kind of after the fact, approve the summer levies that have already been collected. Because there's only one apportion report that is done in October. So I will see you in a couple of weeks for that as well. And Amy may know this, do we have any millage rates up for, that are gonna be voted on in November?
No.
Okay. So, being an off year, the apportionment report I bring you in a couple of weeks, we should not have to revise that, like we have to do some years where there's millage rates that are passed in November that take effect immediately for that December tax collection.
Any questions?
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
I look at this and.
I look at this and
it's a little bit late right now. But I look at this and I remember what Mr. Morris said at our last meeting. Mr. Morris, I believe, was totally correct when he said that. When we approved the amount of millage to go on the tax collection on this, it would be nice to know what fund equity that organization has at this time at home, how much fund equity they've been carrying forward for years and years and years.
Yeah,
thank you. And so, Tracy and I were talking about this on Tuesday after our meeting.
It'd be nice to get
the fund balances, and the revenues and
expense report,
maybe even a couple months in advance of this, so that we can have a discussion a month ahead of time as to what's going to be levied or proposed, so that we can then go back to these organizations if we're going to propose a reduction, and then they can have a response to that. Maybe they have. Craig was part of that conversation.
Maybe they have something
coming up that we don't know about, then we're gonna lower the levy of their taxes, and then we're like, whoa, hang on, so we had already budgeted that for something for fiscal year 25, or, whatever. So they can come back and let us know, so it's more seamless, it's better communication. It's too late now to do anything other than what's before us, in my opinion. But I think that's, moving forward, that's the process I'd like to see.
Well, Mr. Morris, I kind of agree, but you also have each, and I can only speak for the 911 board, can't speak for the Veterans Affairs ambulance, but each one of those individual boards looks at that fund balance, and they look at the expenditures that are going to come up in the future, and they decide to send us that millage rate. So at that time, they can raise and lower it. So if you're going to ask for fund balances, I think you probably should ask for what they plan to do with the fund balance as well. But most of those decisions are again made by each entity's board before they come there.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. That's all I'm saying. So looking at the fund balance alone really isn't.
It has revenues and expenses in mind. If the fund balance keeps going like this, and the millage keeps being the same, I think we have a responsibility, even if they approve it, we have a responsibility to our taxpayers to say.
No, and I'm just saying you need to ask the individual organizations, why is that fund balance?
And not to question the organizations, but just maybe we don't need, maybe we can reduce the taxes.
Yes.
I agree with what both of you are saying. We have a responsibility here for the taxpayers in the county. Sometimes being on some of those boards, and I've certainly been on many boards, and I'm on more boards than I need to be on right now, but sometimes it's easier for the oversight board to say, just a minute. You may have this coming up and you project that expenditure to be $1 million, but why do you have $5.5 million in your fund equity? And it keeps growing on the taxpayer's back. I just think that I really like when Bill brought this up, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And we're also a year ahead of time putting all of these places on notice that that's what we intend to do
We
in the
intend to look
future.
at
We intend to look at your fund balance, and we intend to look at how much money you have coming in and put your big cap.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you get the other side of it as well, then
Right.
you can make an informed decision, so data-driven.
It's a check and a balance.
Check and balance.
Check and balance.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing.
Well put, Tim.
Any other questions?
I just like to say,
sorry.
I like the GIS.
I just gotta say, you know.
I use it all the time.
I use it all the time. It might be an open screen that I use all the time, and it's a tremendous tool. Thank you.
Well, and I guess I'll just let you know, I just received the portable drive with the 6-inch imagery file from the state. And so I'm in the process of getting that to Beacon so that they can, what I have to figure out is because the board didn't want to pay for that, the 6-inch layer, because it was about $27,000. I've already spoken to the assessors, the local units are expecting, most of them are expecting, I'm gonna be sending them an invoice for a share to help me recoup the cost of that. Because a couple of the assessors run 9 of the 17 units that are on board, so I'm hopeful that all the units will participate. Those that don't, I've got to figure out, some of the 6-inch may not be available all throughout the county. When I know exactly how much of that 6-inch layer will be available, to just be available to everybody on the web, I can then come back and maybe talk with Tracy, see, because some of the other organizations here, Drain, law enforcement, may be interested in helping, you know, cover the cost for some of the smaller rural units. It's hard to say they really have to have the 6-inch image file. Any of the places with a heavier population, that 6-inch file really helps you see things better. So we'll see where that ends up. I'm basically not trying to make money on it. I'm just trying not to lose money on it by providing.
Do we still have a subscription for real estate companies and other places that use that? If they want to get into the details part of it?
We don't. The information that we put on the Beacon is available to anybody. And that's the thing that I'm talking to. It costs me additional money annually with Beacon to increase the program, I guess, manageability of it, to set up units that require a login or a subscription, to see layers that are paid for by the unit.
Well, there was part of it that we considered public domain, and I think it might have been before we were working together. The basic stuff, everybody could find. But if they wanted to go into the high resolution stuff, and they wanted to go into the things that cost extra money, like the realtors were one that liked to get into and look at all of that stuff, or the banks like to get into their title companies. And if they wanted to get into there, there was a subscription fee with a password for them to get into those. Maybe that would be more complicated than.
And there's certain things that are available. The local units that upload their data, which includes all of their building records, sales data files, photos, sketches, things like that. Those are what realtors and appraisers are looking for. And if they upload it to the BSA website, BSA, and I believe they just increased their fee. It was, even when I do searches, I pay $3 per parcel, and I think they just increased it to $5 or maybe $6. But that's if the local units upload their data, and BSA is not charging to host that data. Some units pay for the hosting to provide it for free. But the majority of the units out there, when I'm looking for something, I'm paying on a per parcel basis. So they are getting their money somewhere.
I can tell you from my personal standpoint, I'm not speaking for the other members of the board. If you're paying for that, and private industry wants to look at the detailed stuff and you charge them for it, I personally don't have a problem with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
So what's our file right now? You said we're
Right
going
now
for
it's a 12-inch. So everybody will be able to see the new 12-inch imagery file. And they should be leaving the previous imagery file, which is nice because you can pull up the last one, which I think was 5 years ago, and then look at the current one and see the changes. So, I'm not sure, you may even do that in a side-by-side window, which is nice to see. As assessors, I know our assessors, for equalization, we probably won't do it as much because our appraisers go out and we're appraising what's there to compare what's on the current assessment roll. But for an assessor to use that as a tool to see, to look at, their records to see if they're missing something. And they can look at, 5 years ago, there was no building. Now they look at the current flyover from this spring, they see a pole building or an outbuilding, and they see they never got a building permit, and they never assessed it. Now they know what to go look for. Those files can be obtained by the assessor, and they can be sent to an organization that does, they provide what's called a change finder service. And they will actually provide a list of all the parcels that had a decrease or increase in square footage of buildings from one point in time to another point in time. And it's a great tool. It's like 15 cents per parcel, I believe. But it basically helps you clean up things you're assessing that you shouldn't be, but also pick up any buildings that were built, additions, decks that'll pick up. Where a lot of people will build stuff behind.
Swimming pool sizes.
Swimming pool sizes. I mean, I personally don't believe swimming pools have much value to the property. But it does help you identify it. As assessors, we're supposed to identify all improvements to the property, so it is good to know it's there. But anyway, you should see that new layer available. Hopefully all of the local units will participate, and essentially once, I'm sure we'll have some private vendors want to purchase that data, and once I've been made whole, then I'll open up the whole thing for the county.
So,
Totally different year.
Totally different year. Equalized values next year. I know it's a little early, but are you thinking it's gonna be similar, of something like a 7.9% increase?
No, I believe that, in the September, it was the final, CPI report that's used. They use a 2-year, and it's the first 12 months, going back 2 years, and the next 12 months, and it's the first set of numbers divided by the second, vice versa. But the people that have been tracking it, I just kind of watch their emails. They're thinking, I believe it's going to be 4.8 or 4.9%, so it's going to be a little bit under that 5%. So our CPI, our taxable values will be capped. They won't hit the 5% again this year, even though the inflation rate was 7.9. I think both will be below the 5%, but just barely.
Okay.
It'll still be a fairly significant increase when you look at 3.5% last year, 5% this year, and another close to 5%. It's roughly, 13% increase in property taxes over a 3-year period of time for people. So I'm starting to get more calls about that, especially from our senior taxpayers and people that are on fixed income. That's really starting to take a bite. It hasn't slowed down the sales though.
The size of the sale.
The size of the sale.
No, I shouldn't say it hasn't slowed down the sales. We still don't have a lot of sales, but they're consistent, and they're consistently selling for higher than what they were assessed for, and that's what keeps driving the increase.
And listed.
We don't have a lot of sales pool either.
No.
Yeah. So I think as far as the other item that goes with that, our SEV actually, I was speaking about the CPI, which caps your taxable value, which affects taxes, but I believe that we're probably in the residential going to be looking at an 8 to 10% countywide increase in the assessed values. That's less than the 14 to 16% we had last year.
So I'm gonna move into a single line.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you in a couple weeks.
For a tent?
Did you want that, once they approve that, do you want that emailed to you, or?
Amy gets to keep the original, and email equalization, and one needs to be sent out to all of the local unit treasurers that collect taxes in the city and the townships.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Ed.
Ms. Anderson, the appointment of the Board of Canvassers.
So the Canvas Board members serve 4-year term, and there's 4 members on the board, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 Democrat, 1 Republican is appointed every 2 years. I've contacted the party chairs, and they've provided 3 names from each of their parties that are interested, and my recommendation is Aaron McGregor and Bruce Vardian. So I have ballots here for you. Do you want to do that now?
Okay, we can. You wanna? I don't think that's on the.
I have it as a motion on the agenda, on the regular agenda.
On the regular
as well.
agenda.
Okay, so you want to do it in the regular meeting?
Well,
Yeah. On the regular meeting.
on the
there's
regular
names.
meeting, there's names.
She's got 3.
She's got 3.
Do we have a ballot?
Do we have a ballot that we're supposed
I have it right here.
Craig?
Craig,
We have a ballot.
Pardon me?
we have a ballot that we need to do on that before the regular meeting.
Okay, then we can do that right now.
Who's our current 2 other members that would be existing, that would stay on? Just out of curiosity.
Aaron.
Testing you.
Aaron.
Testing you.
Cindy Fowler.
Cindy Fowler.
Okay.
And on the Democrat
And on the
side,
Democrat
it is
side, it is,
Kathy
Kathy.
Snyder.
There's a
Yes,
Paul.
Snyder.
There was a
Okay,
copy
thank
of
you.
the letter with the names on them.
Don't look at the check mark.
Don't look at the check mark. Please. Please.
And if you're done, I can pass them back over to me so I can tally them.
This would be easy compared to November. We're voting on paper though.
Yeah, we might be able to hand count these.
Paul, I get set up, I get set up, I
It would have a copy if you went in November.
Did not run down.
I did not run down. I did automatic.
All right, Ms. Biard, administrative review of selected claims for payment. We have administrative review.
The claims have been provided for you in your packet. No, did you wanna, what about the Brownfield?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, back to reappointment and appointment to the Brownfield Redevelopment Committee, sorry.
So this is a request to reappoint Denny Powers and appoint Thomas Osborne to the Brownfield Redevelopment Committee. There were 2 that decided not to run again for that board, and so we're still looking for another person.
Yes,
If I comment on that?
please.
Danny Powers, as we all know,
As we all know, is the former chairman of the board.
And Danny Powers, I think.
Danny Powers, I think, is a very good person on Brownfield. He's lived in
Oceana County his whole
Oceana
life.
County his whole life.
Understands
And he
Oceana
understands
County.
Oceana County.
Thomas Osborne.
Thomas Osborne.
Actually, Paul could speak more about
more
Thomas
about
than
Thomas
I
than
can,
but
but
Thomas was the emergency manager here.
And I believe Tom
holds his
holds his
PhD in chemical engineering.
And he worked in that industry
his whole life, and in the mining industry his whole life. And if there's any technocratic things that the engineers want to talk about a redevelopment of Brownfield, I can't think of anybody more knowledgeable in the area than Thomas Osborne to understand what they're saying and to be able to, because he understands all of those components, he understands all
correct on.
You're spot on.
You're spot on.
No. Craig knows Tom. Craig knows Tom. I don't know if anybody else. I don't know if anybody else in the room knows Tom. Graduated.
We're lucky that somebody
We're lucky
like
that somebody like that actually will sit up.
And came home. And came home. And came home. He could live anywhere else. He could live anywhere else in the world. But he loves Oceana County. He loves Oceana County, and he grew up in Hart. And he cares about us. He cares about us. If you read your board package, you would see the depth of experience that Tom is. He went to MSU to Box School. Learned how to build cardboard boxes, and after that, he advanced into this career. But yeah, Tom and Denny are both very good candidates. Any other questions, comments?
We have to select one though?
We're reappointing Denny Powers and you're appointing Thomas.
Okay. And that would be a planning commission.
And there's one more.
Based on what we decided last time.
And there's one more vacancy, and
You had brought up
the planning commission.
Yeah.
You know, there's an opportunity there.
We're meeting a week from today about that. We're gonna talk about that today, or a week from today.
Okay, now we'll move on to the administrator's review, selected claims for payment and administrative report.
And as I stated, the claims are provided for you. Are there any questions on those?
If not,
I don't really have much for administrator's report. It's been budget time, and that's where the focus has been. So I don't have anything else.
Anybody have any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Can you tell us more about the budget?
Can you tell us more about the budget?
Yeah, you want
Yeah, you wanna know what?
We got our fill on Tuesday.
We got our fill on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We did that for 8 hours already. Department head reports.
I would just like to recognize Mr. Troy Maloney, our emergency manager. He is now officially taken all his classes, passed his exam. He is now a professional emergency manager, signed and certified. So Troy, well done. Thank you for being diligent with that process.
And he wants to go through it again.
Yeah.
That was 120 hours of my life.
All right, moving on. Public comment at this time for finance and administration.
Point of order, I just wonder, should we do a reset? Are we expecting any of our Stephen Carlson or anything?
Well, first of all, I was going to mention that my apologies because
we wouldn't have started at 9
a.m.
No, I get that.
Troy?
He was on schedule, talking this morning, he had it listed as a different date. I just apologized, he was trying to come in and I just told him, hey, he won't be here.
So he won't be here.
You're going to reschedule. And Tracy get hold of you directly with his sincere apologies and go from there.
I was going to say if we were still maybe expecting.
He was a
He works for Windsor.
Yeah. I've never had him not be absolutely punctual on anything.
Well,
I understand that, but still.
I double checked
my email to make
Everything on our end is correct. It was absolutely a mistake on his end.
This emergency was handled well.
But my only comment was to be, should we just recess rather than adjourn? But if we're not expecting him, then no.
I already told him that he's
done.
Okay. You missed out.
Appreciate that. And I guess you can reschedule. I'm going to go back to any public comment this time for finance and administration.
You can extend the public comment.
Ryan said he'll get up and wax eloquently the next hour.
Tell us all what you're saying.
I had Miss Michelle under department head report. You want me to run down and see if she had something she wanted to say? She was in.
She wanted to be here for the Soil Conservation District.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's I felt, but if she wanted to say something, I mean, we could have Kevin Gibbs come in and give us a magic act.
Not hearing any public comment, I'll adjourn the meeting.